Let's get Adeniyi's comments on this. It's a very serious matter. In spite of the fact that it's commendable the work being done in terms of refurbishing the infrastructure at the airport, but he has raised a very pertinent point: the fact that the runway is not isolated from the infrastructure at the airport. In fact, it's where they all do their business. That's where everybody does their business as much as they do their business in the terminals and the rest of it. So what are the plans as regards refurbishing the runways, just like Bala has just pointed out?
To the best of my knowledge, I know that safety is the number one priority in the aviation industry, and the present administration is working assiduously to ensure that we bring on board a very safe airspace, very safe environment, and all the airports, including the runways. And as we go forward, there are quite a number of projects that are what I call work in progress. You recall that for over 30 years, these things were abandoned, and there were no visible proactive developments or refurbishments on the runways, etc., etc. But now, what we are now doing is to take them one by one and then, meet up with the demands of the industry.
But like Bala pointed out, that we have to prioritize these things.
That's right.
And so, in trying to prioritize these things, shouldn't it be first the runways before we begin to work on the terminals?
It has always been safety first. Runways is just a component under safety, and that's what we took when we came in as our number one priority. But you cannot leave the runways and then when the passengers disembark from and then they move into the terminal buildings and they find it in a very, very parlous state. So what we are doing is to take all on board all the key fundamentals for airport development. Number one priority is safety, and then after safety you have security, and then after security then you have passenger comfort, which is where I have my domain.
Now, still looking at your domain, FAAN is currently working on a new project called ARAP, Aviation Revenue Automation Project. Could you please shed more light on this?
Well, the idea behind the Aviation Revenue Automation Project is underlined by the fact that when we came, we found that there are quite a number of loopholes in terms of the sources of generating revenue for all the parastatals under the industry. And we felt that with technology, as we have it today, we can apply technology to revenue generation and bring about an automated platform. And so that's what informed the decision to go, on ARAP. And with ARAP, we have quite a number of components under ARAP. We have the toll collections, for the access to the airports, the car parks, etc. We have the non-aero and the aeronautical revenue sources, which include the landing and the parking fees, the PSC, what we call the passenger service charge, the avio bridges charges, the fuel surcharge, etc. So all these things were being handled in the past manually. So they were creating a number of gaps in the process of generating revenue and being able to know precisely what is generated and what is coming in. So, but with the platform of ARAP that we have now, we are closing the gaps on all these loopholes. And so we have seen in the last couple of 1 year in which the ARAP project had come on board a significant increase in our revenue generation. For example, in Abuja at the access point, as at June last year, we were having on a monthly basis of about 14-15 million naira on a monthly basis. But now we have moved it to about 30-32 million on a monthly basis.
Okay, so how much of this revenue goes into capacity building?
Well, capacity, as you know, aviation is a specialized industry.
True.
Being a specialized industry, there are regulations, as to the number of times a pilot should, go for training. the number of times that the crew should go for training, the number of times that the ATCs, traffic controllers should go on training. So because all this is regulated, it is sine qua non that there must be provision, for training, for manpower development at all times and every time, to support, the development in the aviation
Okay,
sector.
so hold on to your thoughts, Adeniyi, and I'm going to come to you now, Bala in Abuja. Has enough been done in terms of capacity building for pilots?
What did you say?
I asked, has enough been done in terms of capacity building for pilots and other crew members?
Okay, let me clarify the issue here. Government has nothing whatsoever to do with capacity building for pilots. It's the entire preserve of the airlines that operate within the territory. Like he said, it's a regulated area. We know that pilots who fly commercial airlines must always go for what we call simulator training, which is done every 6 months. And that is to abreast and be sure that he is following all the procedures established for that particular type of aircraft in the discharge of his duty, either as pilot in command or as first officer. So like I told you, it's not an area where a question can be asked as to whether enough has been done or not done. It is mandatory. It is an insurance requirement. It is a standard operating procedure of the company operating the aircraft. So, and then it's called a standard prerequisite for renewing your license with the Civil Aviation Authority. So these are issues that cannot be compromised anywhere in the world. And all ICAO contracting states are under obligation to ensure strict compliance. So that is how it is done.
Well, Bala, apart from the challenges one of the challenges that you mentioned, the issue of the runways, what other challenges do pilots face or have pilots faced in the for last year and for most of 2011 when this present administration started?
I honestly can barely hear you, but I understand, if I understand you correctly, you are asking what other challenges do pilots face in this country, maybe, in the aviation sector. Now, the challenges are that all over the world, like I have told you, pilots are stakeholders in the industry, and where certain things are supposed to be done by government or by people charged with responsibility as service providers in the industry, they are supposed to be consulted in their capacity as stakeholders. And that is what we said to a certain extent is lacking in this country, and it should be encouraged, so that we are all working for the same purpose. And therefore, if they are listening to you and are consulted, I'm sure it will help the regulatory authority in prioritizing, their developmental project. And therefore, at the end of the day, they will be able to achieve their goal, with some level of less hassle, less problems, as we always say it.
Well, thank you, Bala. Let me just quickly take you up on that point just before we go on break. He says, there's been this impression of unhealthy competition between FAAN and other aviation agencies like NCAA, NAMA, and NIMET. What is your agency doing to correct this impression?
We don't perceive any unhealthy competition. And for us, when we came on board, we agreed that we are a team. There's team aviation, one team. So I may answer the nomenclature, I work for FAAN, but I'm working for aviation. So to that extent, we are all on the same page. We share issues together, we look at them together, we come together at strategic retreats, we look at issues, and we come to a consensus as to how to move forward. And that's how we came about the master plan that we have, the action plan that we have, the impact plan, and every sector, intervention programs that we have been doing.
Okay, so let's take a quick break now on the program, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on the aviation sector. I've been speaking with the Director of Commercial and Business Development of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Adeniyi Balogun, and also Bala Naala. He joins us from our Abuja studios. He's a pilot. And when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.